The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. From the heart of Broadway and historic downtown Cape Girardeau, this is Pro Wrestling Unscripted.
Wednesdays are for professional wrestling, and that, of course, means it's another edition of Pro Wrestling Unscripted right here on the Podzilla 1985 network. I am your host for the week. Of course, I am the five-star man, Asa Gray, and joining me at this time, he's the canceled one. He's the Big D, Dalton Anthony.
I fucking hate Facebook.
And I'm not going to indulge you because we've got too much to talk about. I guess we got time. Like, it wasn't a big week of news or anything.
No,
we've only got a few stories on the list.
Yeah. Basically, I told Derek's wife that she should beat up Derek, and Facebook said that was against violence standards.
Yeah. The domestic violence is hilarious.
No, it wasn't. All right, no, not where I was getting at. Derek was being a butthead.
Facebook doesn't know.
I know. They didn't catch the humor. And honestly, sometimes I've known Derek for 20 plus years. Sometimes he just needs to get punched. If not by me, by somebody. And she's the closest.
Well, now we're not going to have this episode broadcast because you're inciting violence. Well,
we just can't post it on Facebook.
But all bits aside,
yeah.
You know, obviously it's a huge news week, and we might as well just jump into it with the biggest news, the biggest signing that was made official, is that Fuego del Sol is all elite.
All right, so all jokes aside, that's amazing.
I loved it.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Also, just so you know, that wasn't the biggest signing of the week.
Yeah.
So, but I do want to give this time because I do think it is a legitimately heartwarming story of him showing up like week after week after week, getting his teeth kicked in pretty regularly, like on Dark, because that's his role, and he does that role excellently. But just like the heart that he's shown, the way that he's managed to get the crowd rallied around him, and then on top of like the Sammy vlogs, like I am more than 100 episodes behind on BTE, and I've only seen a handful of the Sammy vlogs just because there's so much like YouTube content that I would like to watch. I don't have time for it.
Yeah. Like
I haven't seen actual TV shows that I want to keep up on. But like the stuff that I have seen has been really, really well done. And so for, you know, the character he's kind of forged for himself there has also been it's really good. And so it's really nice to see it. And also the way that they did it, like Tony Khan handing off the contract, letting Sammy be the one to hand it off. You know, they could have done a shittier job of it. They could have just not offered him the contract because he lost the match. But I thought it was really, really nice. And it was really, really sweet to see.
Yeah, same. And it's just cool to see AEW do things like this because across the way we aren't seeing that treatment as much. If anything, we are seeing the exact opposite of that treatment. And it's nice to see them be like, this is somebody that was a fairly, like, not integral part, but he was a big part of the COVID time for AEW. He was there all the time during those tape shows. And it's good to see hard work rewarded. That's what it boils down in my heart. Just like that dude has busted his ass for a while now, just in wrestling in general, but at AEW, like you said, just getting his teeth absolutely mashed. And to see like them be like, not only are they offering, because it could have just been a splash page on the social medias. That would have been fine. And that would have been enough for me too. But the fact that they did the extra step and actually gave this like kind of a story angle, really cool coming out of AEW.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but no, that's obviously not the biggest signing of the week. The biggest signing for All Elite Wrestling, of course, is Jeff Parker, Matt Lee 2.0 are All Elite.
I knew you were going to
friend of the show, and we'll get to why here in a second. Very, very glad that my friend of the show shirt came in, because you know what kind of shirt that is, Dalton?
What kind?
That's a ringer tee.
Nice, because you can't.
That's a ringer tee.
Can't get those anymore.
I got mine in, so I'm real happy. No, again, this is just It's super cool that it was made official. Like, they came in a really cool way with Garcia, with blanking on his first name, Garcia. Daniel Garcia. Thank you. Holy crap. Immediately getting thrown up against like Moxley and Eddie Kingston and Darby and Sting. Sting's first match on TNT in 20 years is against friggin' 2.0, and I love it, and it makes me happy. And also, if you guys don't know, the show rules, find them on YouTube. They're entertaining as all hell, like, and I'm super excited to see what else they do.
And again, WWE just not WWE, AEW just getting these good signings and really getting people that will be helpful to their show. There was blankets. I can show you the camera. There was blankets where I threw
No,
them.
You're fine. For those of you, because we keep running into the technical issues, so we're not recording this live, but when we record it, we do a video call. So I just saw Dalton throw his cat.
That was a little much. I didn't throw him. I'm okay with violence against Derek. That's fine. Zemo's a treasure. But, no, he was.
No, you toss a cat to get it out of the way.
Yeah,
because those things are.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of blankets over here, but just Asa. I was in the middle of a sentence. I tossed my cat, and Asa just goes, "No."
Yeah. Anyway, but bits aside, like I genuinely am excited for both of those sets of signings. Those are great, but clearly the biggest news, Friday night, Rampage, Chicago, Illinois. CM Punk makes his return to wrestling after 7 years. Well, much longer if you ask him, technically. But it was... So I was out and about running around, getting rained on like all hell last Friday, dear Lord. And so I got home probably around 10:30-ish. And so Rampage had ended. But I knew like it was they never announced it. And the more that Tony Schiavone did a podcast where he was talking about like even on the run sheet and his locker room, it just said special guest. Mm-hmm. It didn't say CM Punk. He never explicitly told anybody it was CM Punk, but it was just one of those like everybody knew. Yeah, like it wasn't a secret. But so all of the videos were up on social media. So like I watched the entrance, goosebumps. Holy crap! I don't think I've ever heard a reaction like that. And at least not since, when Attitude Era was at its absolute white hottest and, the glass shatters and Stone Cold runs out to, like, make a save. And then the promo, like, that's my promo of the year. Lock, stock, loaded. Like, I don't see anything else.
Unless... the only thing is if Daniel Bryan shows up. Or Bryan Danielson shows up to AEW. And it won't have the gravity that CM Punk's did, but mm-hmm. Daniel Bryan is... Whenever you tell Daniel Bryan to go out there and elicit an emotion, he's like, I got you. I can do that literally all day, every day, with little to no effort.
And you're not wrong, but I disagree. Because I don't think Daniel Bryan has the level of, like... the emotion... I'm trying to think of how to phrase this.
Again,
if Daniel Bryan hadn't come back already, like if this was his return to pro wrestling after WWE refusing to medically clear him, so he leaves the company and then, gets cleared. But even then, I think that would have that stigma of just like, oh, are you really okay to come back?
It would have had the stigma that happened in 2018.
And it's what we talked about whenever it was just like, oh, I'm kind of nervous because, it sounded scary and we just want to make sure that he is okay as a human.
Yeah.
But the fact that he got his last run in WWE, how good that run was. And ultimately, Daniel Bryan never really seemed to have the same complaints that Punk did. He didn't really seem to get done as dirty as CM Punk did. And he's only been off TV for, he has a 90-day no-compete. So, I mean, versus CM Punk's 7 years. So I don't know if there's really anything that Daniel Bryan can tap into to top a return from a 7-year hiatus.
Yeah, and again, I stated before I said it wouldn't have the gravity that Punk promo did. I'm just saying if there's anything that I think that would come out that would be close to it, it would be that one. And only because... it's the same thing that we have with CM Punk of we just haven't seen him in a not WWE role in almost 10 years.
Since he was fired when he started making indie appearances.
Whenever he choked out Justin Roberts, yeah. Which, oh my God.
You think that'll be an uncomfortable, like, that'll be the first thing he does. He comes in as a heel and just, like...
chokes him out again.
Immediately chokes him out with his tie.
My suggestion on that is make sure it's during picture-in-picture and make sure it's Men's Warehouse commercial whenever it happens. I'm just saying they're really good at doing that. They should go 2 for 2. But no, back to...
But give Men's Warehouse the heads up so someone from WWE doesn't like send them an email, be like, hey, look what they did.
Yeah. Oh my God. Snitches. Oh my God. It's so... that whole Domino's thing. We didn't talk enough about it. And we don't have time. But oh man, it pisses me off.
It's that one was rough. So so what did you like? To me, it was super emotional. It was wild to see. It was amazing to see. The fact that his first line essentially on a microphone and on a wrestling show, other than like backstage, like I'm talking actual like wrestling show, was to put over someone else.
Yeah,
you sure make a guy know how to what it's like to feel like Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. Like that was such a cool way to like start off that speech and kind of set the tone, because he does reference WWE in his time there, but he doesn't say the company name. He just kind of gives a brief explanation, because again, he could probably do a 10-minute interview on every show until the end of the year and still not get everything out that he wants to get out.
Yeah.
But so did you watch it live? Did you watch it on replay? Like, how did you see it? So
I was keeping time while getting rained on in an outdoor show. That's gonna have to be its own podcast one day. But we did a county fair show in a rainstorm, and we were watching. Like, I was doing time with Billy Hills and Sarah Summers. And Trishina texted me and said, hey, CM Punk is there. And I said, spoilers, because I knew. And I recorded it so I could watch it on the way home. Not watch it. I knew it was only going to be a promo. So I was just like, if I can just have Peyton Ayers like scrub to where it starts, he can watch it on my phone. I can listen to it through the car speakers. I know what CM Punk looks like. Like, I was going to be good with that. But since she said it, I had already wrestled and I was keeping time for the main event. So I knew they had to go 30 minutes. So I just like, they started right at 9 o'clock, right when the show started. So I just turned on my phone Sling. Fortunately, I had enough service. Me, Billy, and Sarah just huddled around my little iPhone 12 mini and watched the promo. We had captions on. And it was amazing the first time, but I missed so much because I was trying to read captions and listen and also watch Peyton and Riser work, that I didn't get a really...
And keep track of like where they were in their match.
Yeah. So I was like, shit, this is a lot going on. So the second Peyton got done, I was like, all right, cool. Because he wanted to watch it really bad. So I was like, the second we get in the car, like the second we pull away, I'll put home in the GPS, put it on the dashboard, you watch it, I'll listen, because I've already seen it. So I missed a lot of things like I had to get away from the place that was actively hurting me mentally.
I couldn't get better.
Yeah.
I couldn't get healthy at the same place that made me sick.
Yeah. I missed that the first time, but again, that was super powerful listening to, because that's something I didn't hear the first time. I did hear the whole August 13th, 2005 was the day I left pro wrestling. Like, I heard that line. I heard the Pittsburgh line. There was so many good parts of that promo that was like, I'm going to say that 80% of that wasn't a wrestling promo. There was a minute and a half of it that was a wrestling promo. And it's whenever he directly talked to Darby. Everything before that and everything after that, it was just that dude saying like, hey, I'm back. Here's a small brief thing of why I was gone. And I'm here because I want to be back in wrestling. It was super powerful. Again, I think the coolest line was during the wrestling promo aspect of it. Whenever he said, Darby Allin, you do a lot of dangerous things. I can't think of anything more dangerous than wrestling CM Punk. And I was like...
In Chicago.
Yeah, then he said, well, except for wrestling CM Punk in Chicago. And it was one of those things, like, even saying that, and I don't have the wherewithal or word ability that CM Punk's had, it gave me goosebumps just thinking of him saying that line. And it's one of those things we've had a lot of good promos in the last 7 years. We've had a lot of good talkers in the last 7 years. You really forget how good CM Punk is on the mic. Like,
yeah, it's unparalleled, really.
It is.
And also, you know, this is doing so good for AEW.
Yeah, and I'm gonna they were in the United Center, so I can compare this to it. I was 4 years old when this happened, but this had to have been the exact same feeling whenever Michael Jordan came back, like the first time. Like, it had to have been that same feeling of people being like, oh shit, we're never going to get this person again. Granted, that was 2 years versus 7 years, but like, we got the king doing what he does best.
Yeah, it's and also, so it's like the blowing up on social media, like the YouTube views, it's in their top. When I looked this morning, I meant to look before the show started again, but it had already reached like number 8 all-time YouTube video views. The ESPN, Tony Khan did an interview saying like the ESPN metrics of the social media like impacts or whatever, the interactions, whatever that's called, I don't remember, on Twitter, like, was stuff that they have never seen over the last handful of years, and that includes like Super Bowls and the Olympics and NBA finals and all of this, because this is something that actually transcends pro wrestling. Like, this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute perfect storm of it being in Chicago too, because don't get me wrong, he could have, you know, anywhere he's going to debut, anywhere he comes back, it's going to be a huge deal, but it's not going to be like that. Like, that was special because he is such a Chicago guy and he knows it, and but more importantly, Chicago knows it.
Yeah.
So it was that just hit on all cylinders. But it wasn't just Chicago that it was huge in. Jumping forward a little bit, just because I meant to tie this together anyway. It included, he got a new T-shirt, of course, to go with it, because we're going to get all the CM Punk merchandise. And the new AEW CM Punk T-shirt set a new record for PWTs that in most shirts sold in 24 hours. But even more impressive is that CM Punk T-shirt is now the best-selling T-shirt in PWT's history. It finally dethroned the classic Bullet Club shirt. You know, when you think of Bullet Club logo, that shirt that everyone has, that first Bullet Club shirt that hit Hot Topic, it's that T-shirt is finally dethroned, and it only took 72 hours for that to happen.
So again, and I'm going to tie this into how much respect I have for CM Punk as a whole, because he proved in 72 hours that he left millions on the table.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because like, I'm going to get kind of gross. I don't know how it works with AEW stars, but I'm going to explain Pro Wrestling Tees a little bit. Every shirt sale you make, you get $7 of. Now that's me. If you go to prowrestlingtees.com/DaltonAnthony and you buy one of my shirts, which I don't think you can right now because I think the site is still kind of clogged. But like,
they just posted an update with how they're handling site traffic.
Yeah, if you're gonna get all your Dalton Anthony merch, wait a couple weeks to let all this die down. But
did you see Nyla Rose on Twitter? Someone's like, "Hey, when are you gonna drop a new, like, there was a design or something?" It's like, when are you gonna drop that new T-shirt? And she's like, "Are you kidding? No." Just let it sit there with this awesome merch, just sit there because everybody's too busy buying a CM Punk shirt.
Yeah,
I'm not putting anything out for months.
Yeah,
like,
no,
that was good.
But
and smart. Like, she's not wrong.
But like, yeah. So I don't know how the AEW shirt sales work. I don't know how much of that goes to AEW versus the independent, the worker themselves. But like, 7 times however many that was. Like, CM Punk left millions on the table and was perfectly fine with it. Like, I respect the shit out of that guy for that. Because, again, wrestling has missed him so much. Because because he came back to that ovation. Granted, it was his hometown, but like you said, that was going to fucking happen in Hoboken, New Jersey. Like, the Cult of Personality was going to make any building lose their mind. Do you remember whenever they did it with Paul Heyman, like 6 months after he walked? And the crowd went super hot just for it to be Heyman? Like, that was going to happen.
And I'm so glad that they didn't do that. like I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to be like AEW good, WWE bad, because that's a stupid mentality to have. But I'm very glad that I was wrong about the joke suggestion of MJF is going to come out to Cult of Personality, because as we saw at SummerSlam, which we will get to, like WWE will absolutely go out of their way to shoot themselves in the foot with one of the biggest names that they have.
Yup.
And the fact that the like, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, that Fuego del Sol, like that segment wouldn't have played out the same way in WWE. Like it wouldn't have.
No.
And the way that the CM Punk reveal, like, yeah, they didn't announce it, but it was like everyone knew it was going to happen, but it wasn't 100%. So there was that element of what if, like, is it real? And they just let it play out. The commentators didn't, totally speak over the whole moment. It was almost a perfect wrestling segment. And so speaking of the PWTs real quick, on their Twitter, where was it? I just saw this. After all these years, we finally need a queue system for our apparel. Once the sites hit a specific threshold, you'll be placed in a merch line. This applies to Shop AEW as well. This is to prevent servers from crashing and payment issues like we had on Friday. So it gives you and they posted a picture of it. I'll send it to you real quick.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I know what you're talking about because I saw the same thing too. Because it's like you get 10 minutes. Yep. Whenever you're in the queue, if it hits a certain threshold, you get put in the queue. If you're in that queue, whenever it's your turn, you get 10 minutes to do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, so it's good that they have a system in place now, because there's no way they could have expected the fact that, and that we haven't mentioned this yet, but AEW has now, or I'm sorry, not AEW, PWTs has now bought out the entire North American supply of white ringer shirts with the black trim. So they had to go through and buy the entire stock of the entire continent to help meet these orders, and they're still sold out.
Yeah.
So
again, like I said earlier, millions. He left millions on the table. I'm going to say that number's in the millions. They could back a couple of New Generation rings. Millions.
Stop it. Only if they take out a loan on a really seedy ass app.
Man, the amount of people that are like, man, well, I can't comment right now because I'm Facebook banned, but like that are just like, my order got canceled, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it did. Mine went through, so I'm getting a Doink and a Diesel and a Macho. It was a really weird and a ring. And an entrance stage. But no, anyway, back to CM Punk. Like, super awesome that they had to scavenge for every white ringer tee in the continent. But like, man, Bleacher Report better have their poop in a group in a week and a half. Because remember how
for All Out,
you know how good, like, the first couple AEW pay-per-views, you sat with us, which we might have to do. I don't think I'm working that weekend. I might have to cancel. Nope, I don't think I am. But anyway, like, we all had, like, we sat in here during, like, the first two AEW pay-per-views. And Bleacher Report was kind of booty. Whenever I went to watch Double or Nothing last year with Mama and Papa Stunt, Bleacher Report was sucking real bad. And those, like, they had some good, like, debuts and matches on them, but I'm going to say it's CM Punk. If that shit goes down, it's going to be a bad look. Like, if I'm paying $60, they can't say, well, it just overloaded everything. Nah, man, you knew. Like, you've had a couple weeks to figure it out.
Especially if this is his first, you have to assume this is going to be his first match. Like, I don't see
him, there's no way he's wrestling
on Dynamite beforehand.
No. If he cuts a promo tonight, I'll be impressed.
Oh, he'll be that. Like, he's advertised for the show.
Well, I guess I should.
So
if I turn my TV on mute, I could just watch a live update. But that's irresponsible.
A little bit. But there is more stuff to talk about other than CM Punk. And it's jarring almost of how AEW seems to be making all of the right moves, just right decision, great press, great public perception, and then WWE seems to not be able to stop themselves from stepping on the rakes in their yard. And that's me editorializing a lot on this story, but it appears that Dave Meltzer is reporting that NXT and Full Sail, the partnership between those two, has officially ended. NXT will no longer be broadcast at Full Sail, or it will not be returning to Full Sail. It will be taking place at the Performance Center from this point forward. That is, of course, coupled with the fact that they went to taping shows starting this week. So the episode of NXT that aired last night, we record this on Wednesday, was recorded on Monday, which they were kicking people out. They were kicking out press because they were so worried about spoilers getting out, which is ridiculous because anyone can write into those shows. Like, I wrote in to PW Torch, I think, years ago, just doing a house show report. Mm-hmm. But, like, it's not just, they're not always just going to send dedicated staff members to do those reports. Like, there's going to be fans that just will write in. So yeah, that seems weird to me. Like, if you want to have somebody like Lucha Underground apparently had fans sign NDAs.
Yeah, I think that's
so, like,
the only
straight
way...
up, like, hey, if it turns out that you leaked results to this thing, you can get in legal trouble. So do that, especially if you're filming, if you're going to continue to broadcast from the Performance Center, and you can limit how many. That's not a huge amount of people. So that's weird. And ultimately, like, when you think of Full Sail, you have to keep in mind that wasn't just, wrestling and Performance Center and the physical aspect of it. They had Full Sail students doing filming and production and set and all of that other stuff like that. So if that entire partnership is now ended, then that's a bummer. Like, because that seems like it would have been a really good opportunity.
You would think that WWE would dig all this cheap and free labor. Because college kids don't get paid. As somebody that had to do an internship for 16 weeks, for a person that's going to have to do an internship for 16 weeks next year, you don't get paid for that. That's free labor. And Full Sail is one of the best, like, media colleges in the country. You had the best free labor. Like, I get it and I don't get it. Because, like I just stated, like, Full Sail has an amazing facility from what I've seen online. And, like, Full Sail was running NXT since, like, 2012. Like, Full Sail's been in charge of that for a hot minute. And honestly, the production values at all those shows were always really solid. Even early 2013 NXT still looked really good, even though it was kind of a poop like set. Like, they did a good. It was shot well. It was done well. The lighting, the sound, everything was always really solid. And they want to get rid of it. I get it to a certain extent because you're probably having, like, you have to pay the college. The workers are free, but the college isn't. So you have to be paying the college some, and your WWE, you have all the production costs in the world, minus pyro, because that's taken and given away at a whim. So I get why it would make sense for them to cut Full Sail, because it's extra money you're spending. You have your own facility that fits 3 wrestling rings, so you obviously have the space. And you can... I
think this is even a different... Like, I think that is the workout area, and that's not where they broadcast this.
Maybe.
I think this is a separate... Because, like, the training facility, I don't... Because we've seen, like, that training facility, and I don't see how they would get stands and everything and that whole setup laid out. And maybe they do tear down, like, every single week.
I was about to say,
that seems like it would be... That seems like that would be a lot of trouble to go through.
I want you to come to CCW at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then you'll figure out the amount of shenanigans you can get into in that time. Now, granted, I get what you're saying, because that's an every week thing.
No, I know I know it's possible, obviously. It's just that seems like for what they're doing and the layout of that, from what we've seen of, like, the 3 rings set up, I don't know if that's how it is. I also am pretty sure, because didn't they do WrestleMania out at the Performance Center?
Possibly. Yeah.
Where where they went backstage and you actually saw like those other rings.
So yeah,
like, back there.
It probably is two different things, because the Thunderdome wasn't the Performance Center. That was like a off-site place.
Yeah, I feel like we did some.
It was an arena.
I think there was some match where they went backstage and you saw, like, it was Performance Center, but like they went to the backstage area.
That
and
was
you saw.
Just so you know, that was Edge and Orton.
No, I know, like, I'm not talking about WrestleMania anymore.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
like there was, I'm pretty sure there was an NXT show out of the Performance Center that they did go backstage. I could be completely misremembering it, but I'm not,
Gotcha.
So I'm not like saying that for sure, but I think that it would be separate.
The roundabout way of saying is it's a business decision that I understand. I don't entirely agree with it, but I do get it, because like I said, they have all of this capital and they have all of these buildings, and it probably is cheaper to just pay your own guys than to pay somebody else. Because again, you have like you'd assuming that they were in a contract where they were paying Full Sail to use their shit, and they were probably at a certain point where like, well, we have our own shit, and they've been, if everything looks to be the way it does, it looks like they've been trying to cut costs for a hot second now. So it makes sense. Like, I don't agree with this business choice, but I understand this business choice.
Did you see any of the... I didn't put it on here just because, one, it kind of made me mad. And also, it's not necessarily, I don't know, all that newsworthy. But did you see the interview that Nick Khan did with Ariel Helwani? It sucked. Like, that dude sucks. And I'm very disappointed in Ariel, because he obviously could have held his feet to the fire a little bit more, but he just kind of accepted the answers. Like he mentioned all of the people getting fired, and Nick Khan's answer was legitimately like, oh, well, you know, when people leave and they go other places, it doesn't upset us. It's like, no, they're not quitting on you, you motherfucker. You're firing them in the middle of a pandemic.
Well, then he would be like...
it's just like, oh, holy shit. But that interview did nothing to like... that interview adding context to like this happening and all the releases and stuff was just like bad look, not what you want to see. But moving on from there, because if there's more that comes out of this story, obviously we'll talk about it. But very bad news, unfortunately. Pat McAfee has tested positive for COVID-19. He posted a couple pictures on Twitter. One of them was his multiple positive tests, as well as a thermometer seemingly showing 104-degree fever, which I thought was go to the hospital fever.
I mean, it was before COVID.
Yeah, so maybe the hospitals are full. I don't know, but that is scary, and also it's a reminder that, like, because he's vaccinated, he said, you know, he's publicly said that he's vaccinated, which you should be. You should get vaccinated. And you should still wear your masks when you're out places and, you know, social distance and all that. It's not done yet. But it's scary because this does show that even if you're vaccinated, it isn't 100%. It helps a lot, but it's not 100%. And if you do get it and you've been vaccinated, hopefully the goal is it will help lessen your symptoms. So if he's got a fever that high, it's terrifying to think of what it would be like if he hadn't been vaccinated.
And like, again, back on the COVID thing, like Pat McAfee is an elite level athlete. Like he hasn't played an NFL down since 2017, but the dude is obviously still in elite level athlete shape.
Oh yeah, I mean, you saw him when he was on NXT.
Yeah,
like when he had those matches, like the dude is like not human.
No, and that's the scary thing about COVID. Like, amongst the 1,000 other scary things, like, it don't give a shit.
No.
But, like, we're gonna hope he fucking gets through it all right. Hopefully he will. It'll be good, and then we get him back healthy and back on the SmackDown booth. Because, honestly, he's been the one, like, him and Roman Reigns have made me want to watch SmackDown.
Oh yeah, he's been a fantastic addition. Like, I was a little nervous. Like, I was pretty confident he would do good, but I didn't think he would do this good. Because he plays it.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say he plays it perfectly to where, like, I was nervous because he could be a little overbearing, like, depending on how he was gonna play it. but I think he's hit that, and Cole kind of helps keep him in check, but also he kind of helps keep Cole in check sometimes, like on correcting things with him, and it's he's been fantastic. You do have to worry though that like he was just at SummerSlam, surrounded by people, you know, they weren't wearing masks while they're out there, and it can, you know, be up to 5 days before symptoms actually show.
Yeah.
So if you're WWE, you got to be kind of in panic mode and making sure you're getting everyone who was there under your payroll tested. You know, you should be. I'm thinking they probably should have like whoever was there in Las Vegas. If you were, you know, you need to be tested as well, obviously, just from being around that many people. But yeah, obviously, you know, hoping the best. Hopefully that, you know, this is the worst of it for him and he'll get better soon. He did say though that his family tested negative, and the people in his studio for his podcast or his radio show have all tested negative so far. So that's very good news.
It's such
that's like the best news you could get out of it.
Yeah, it's such a fun radio show. I come home, I get in my comfy clothes, and then I watch Pat McAfee clips all day. It's the best.
I pretty much just watch him on Twitter. Like, I watch the clips on Twitter. Yeah. Unless it's someone like... I watched the full episode where he had, like, Michael Cole on for the first time, like, the day or the week before he was set to actually, like, be on SmackDown. He's had him on since then, too.
Yeah.
And it also, like, that stuff makes me like Michael Cole more.
Yeah.
Because you gotta remember, the stuff that he says on commentary, a lot of that isn't because he wants to say that. It's, you know, he's getting screamed at by... you know, Vince.
Did you see weird sidebar, and then I'll say the last good thing about Pat McAfee that I'm going to say, and then we can move on. Did you see Jordan Grace's tweet of the production headset at...
and where she's like, this would give me a panic attack? Yes, it would.
Oh my God, just listening to it, I'm like, firsthand, that's the reason why I know I can't work in TV. Two, that was some next level shit. Just like, 10 ready? On 10, and just like, it's not something you think about unless you're watching a WWE match where they camera cut 30 times, but like just on an entrance, it's like, holy shit, there's a lot that those dudes are like.
Yeah, it made me think that a WWE match, it sounds like it's fucking Kevin Dunn is an auctioneer. 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, because like that's how it is in WWE. And like when you're watching the video of Punk's entrance, yeah, there's a lot of cuts, but they make sense.
Yeah, they're good.
And it's not
cuts.
like 3 within a 5-second window. They're solid. They make a lot of sense. But yeah, it's just it is wild to see.
Yeah.
And yes, I absolutely also would just be like, nope, I would rather be an air traffic controller.
Yeah.
At that point, I think.
The best live promo I've ever got to see at a major wrestling show was Pat McAfee before War Games 2019. Because if you go back and watch that pre-show, he like, and apparently, because I watched his YouTube channel, like he was saying, he's like, they handed me a mic and said, go for it. Like, WWE trusted an ex-NFL punter to cut a not scripted promo. And that being said, Pat McAfee killed it. But, like...
Right. And
also, Pat McAfee during that whole 2019 Survivor Series run was the greatest shit. Like, whenever the best episode ever of SmackDown... Whenever NXT invaded, and that's all he just kept. This is the greatest night SmackDown's ever had, and just like shitting on everybody that wasn't yellow and black was amazing.
But yeah, so obviously best wishes to Pat McAfee.
If you can't tell, we're fans.
Yeah, no, if you're listening to this, you probably are too, because he's one of the few things, like, everything is going to have naysayers on the internet. Even like I've seen people kind of like nitpick at the CM Punk review or the return review, but I have seen very few people try to talk shit about Pat McAfee. Hey, speaking of shit, SummerSlam happened. Now I'm not talking about SummerSlam the show, but at SummerSlam this past Saturday, we got the first teaser trailer, because that's all it fucking was. I'm sick of seeing like, oh, we got our first look at gameplay. No, you fucking didn't. The first teaser trailer for WWE 2K22, it just hits different, and it's gonna hit in March of 2022. Yes, this is delayed. We've had one of the production people has been on record saying it was going to come out this year, so it is delayed.
Yep.
And wow, there is 0% chance it's going to be worth it. I am fully confident in saying that right now.
I am finally happy that we're getting a sports game in the correct year it's advertised for. And that's the only nice thing I have to say about it. It makes sense in Dalton brain. Everything looks really pretty.
But you're making a game for the PlayStation 5. It fucking better. You don't have and if you're doing a sim style game, it needs to. But also keep in mind, 2K20 looked pretty. If you go back to SummerSlam 2 years ago when they first revealed it, it looked good. It wasn't until you actually spent more than 3 minutes with it that the wheels fell off.
Yeah, so
I don't think I have zero confidence because one, apparently there's a lot of bad blood, or not bad blood, but like infighting with 2K and WWE. WWE was really pushing to get that game out this year, and 2K was like, you fired over 100 people, so what are we supposed to do? And also it's just like we're trying to make a game pretty much from the ground up because of how badly the last one was screwed up during a pandemic. Like, no, we need more time. And don't get me wrong, I'm not mad that the game got delayed. Video game development is, you've heard me talk about this and yell at Dalton about it over the Retromania. It's incredibly difficult. It's a lot to it. It's not just, as easy as a lot of people think that it might be. And especially, having to adapt to working during the pandemic, I have nothing but respect for all video game developers. Take the time that you need to put out something functional, because the way that 2K20 was released was an embarrassment. I don't think there's anyone who would genuinely worked on that game and genuinely be proud of what came out at launch.
The one guy that was able to get the Fiend skin knocked out in 4 weeks, he should be proud. He did a killer job. That guy deserved a raise.
See, and the thing is, that was multiple people. That was a team of people. Yeah. That wasn't one person just like, one person working on the character models. People at 2K are saying that this game is at risk of being the most outdated roster in any wrestling game, which is saying something because pretty typically wrestling game rosters are pretty outdated in general. Like, it's usually a running joke about, here's the 4 or 5 people that are either not there anymore or are in completely different gimmicks.
I'll give, 2016 through 2018 was pretty solid. But yeah, no, there's 15 and then 19 are very much the bookends of that shit just didn't work anymore after that. But yeah, which again, if it's super outdated, I may really like this game's roster. If it means
because it's the people, they fired all the people we like.
Yeah, be like, if I get to play as Bronson Reed, fucking cool. Like, there's a lot, and again, we don't know how many more people they're still gonna release.
Yeah.
So, Visual Concepts, I think, is the group behind it. And this, I'm gonna try to. This is after the whole Retromania, me being shitty debacle. Which I, again, totally unfounded, really fun game. Still play it on my Switch every once in a while. Super awesome. Visual Concepts in 2010 and 2011 made 2 of the prettiest, most well-playing basketball games of all time. It's the same studio. They were the ones that got 2K20 in a quarter state build and said, finish this. Without Ukes. Sorry. And like, after all of the patches and everything was done, it was a somewhat playable game. Because I played it during quarantine, and it was not great. It was not as buggy as it was when it started. The people that tried. I can say that about 2K20. Might not be proud of it, but they tried their best to fix what was a piece of shit. I'm hoping that the 2.5 years that they've gotten to try to right the wrong of 2K20 is worth it. I hope it's a good game. I want to play a fun current wrestling game.
I would love to be wrong. This is the story of the year, I'm willing to say, that I would be most happy to be wrong about.
Story of next year, because it won't come out until next year.
Well, I meant like of what I'll talk about this year.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I desperately want a fun wrestling game again. But also, unless they're completely redoing everything, the 2K games have not been fun for me. I don't like the super realistic Sims style game.
And see, I dig the 2K games when they work. We've been friends for shit. We have been friends the entire time 2K has been a thing.
Yeah, because 2K took over in 2013.
Yes. So we have been friends just as long as the 2K series. How many hours have I, can you just estimate that I've put into the 2K series? It's fucking boundless. Because I just played them so much.
The shitty guess?
How many?
Does that count actual controller in your hand hours, or the hours of you hitting sim and putting it down and walking away for a couple hours at a time?
Well, I had to play my universe mode. I wanted to see how the new NWO worked out, brother. But
because you were someone who plays more games by not playing them than I have ever met.
And you know who?
Because it wasn't just 2K. Injustice, Mortal Kombat, any Fortnite. You're just here, Sadie, get all these skins for me.
You're cutting on me. Yeah. Oh, okay. I was about to say, please tell me you said Fortnite, because I figured out how to farm an online game, and it's called Just Have a Girlfriend that really gets into it. But no, but back to the serious note, I have played the absolute shit out of these 2K games. Even the ones that weren't great, I still had a lot of fun with 15, and I had some fun with 20. I'm not going to say that I didn't enjoy my time playing 2K20. The issue of it is by the time that I really sunk in and played it, I had the stigma of it being a broken game. I went through and played all the DLCs. And honestly, 2K20 had a lot of charm.
Was the 2K20, was that the one with the DLC that was Wasteland, Apocalypse, and just super out there?
Yeah. And it was fucking awesome. It was so weird. And I remember even saying on the shows, because we were still recording in person at the time whenever the first few dropped. 2K, there was so much charm wrapped up in that shitty game. It would have been a lot cooler if they switched to an arcade style. I don't think they're going to go that route, because everything in sports game land has to be a sim now. We haven't had a good arcade wrestling game since SmackDown versus Raw 2008, because that's whenever it first really started to turn. I want it to be good. But again, there's still some of my favorite wrestling games of all time. 2K14 is I have to play a wrestling game for 10 hours straight, and it has to be the one I think is the best. 2K14 all fucking day. And it's not even with community creations. Just give me the DLCs and give me the 30 years of WrestleMania, and that's the best wrestling game of all time. I get that other people are going to say it's No Mercy and
the correct people.
Yeah, but I have never had more fun with a wrestling game than I did the first 2K game. Now, granted, that was THQ put a lot of work into that, and then 2K just kind of came in at the 11th hour and slapped their logo on it. But it's still a 2K game. 2K16 was amazing. 2K19 was phenomenal. They've had some really good hits. It's super unfortunate that they've also had the biggest misses. 15 and 20 were abysmal. 17 was okay. It just very much carried on the momentum from 16. But 18...
So they haven't... The 2K games just haven't meshed with me. I just don't like that gameplay style. I've bought maybe 2 of them. Because they got me on the Finn Balor statue NXT special edition one. But I think that's the only 2K game that I bought other than... Was it 13 that had Punk on the cover?
Yeah.
Or was that 14?
13 had Punk on the cover, because it was the X's.
Okay. So actually, no, I think I bought 13, 14, and whatever year the NXT edition one was. 16.
Because it was...
Okay. But that's the last one that I bought. I've played them. I've played most of them. I never played 20. But I've played them through you and Shannon. because you guys usually pick them up, and then I'll just kind of play it and just be like, yeah, I don't dig this.
Yeah.
And like because like the story mode hasn't really been there. I don't really dig universe mode just because it's like you have to do so much headcanon stuff to really get stuff to go how you want it to go. Mm-hmm. So I just they haven't worked. So I'm hoping that 2K22, you know, can find a way to be that wrestling game that I really want, but I am skeptical to say the least. But as we get more updates, as we get more trailers, really the only two real positive things that I'll say, or the only real positive thing I'll say about it is it's kind of cool that a wrestling game's coming out at WrestleMania time instead of typically the Survivor Series window, because that's when the most, you know, casual people and are going to be talking about wrestling, and it has the most mainstream eyes on it is WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But they said we would get more, like a big deep dive in like January or something ridiculous like that. So once that happens, we will talk more about that. Real quick, because we are running out of time, Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano are hosting a Mattel product reveal tomorrow on Amazon. That is at like 5 o'clock. WWE Mattel. I had a link pulled up, but I accidentally closed it.
Mm-hmm. I saw it. I just...
Because I'm trying to see...
If this is the last thing we get Adam Cole in, I'm going to giggle my happy ass off.
It won't be, because they've already... we know they've already filmed stuff for...
the next
Up,
couple...
Up, Down, Down.
Oh, okay. Damn it. I was like, make it the toys.
So, I don't know... Because today is typically... Wednesday is the party day. Where they... I wish I had the Cesaro soundboard. Where they play Uno. But they didn't play Uno today. They played, in real life, Giant Connect 4. And I haven't seen the... I haven't seen that video yet, but... And now I can't find the... But yeah, his... because also, like you said, this might be Adam Cole's last... Why can't I... Will you look up... Try to find this link for me? Because I can't do both. I'm not good enough. Wait, I found it.
You're the best.
Oh, God. I hate when places just autoplay videos. Okay, that was loud in my headphones. WWE tweets out, "We are joining forces with Mattel for product reveals on Amazon Live. Join Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole this Thursday, 8/26 at 3 p.m. Pacific." Ooh, I'll be home for that, because that'll be 5 our time. WWE toys and new collector reveals. So that'll be live. That could be one of his last WWE appearances, because he signed the contract extension. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com has reported that that contract expires on Friday. As of Monday, he had not signed a new deal with WWE yet, but it was expected that they were going to offer him another deal. Like, they were going to send him, like, they had already made an offer. He did not take it, but they were going to send him, like, another offer. But there hasn't been any sort of official word on whether or not he's signed or re-signed. This is probably something they've had scheduled, you know, weeks, months in advance before they realized, oh, he doesn't have a contract here anymore. And then it's also entirely possible that he gets replaced, because as we're about to talk about with SummerSlam, it's not unheard of that WWE knows someone isn't going to be available to do a thing, but still advertise them for it.
That's a very wrestling thing in general.
Yeah, and it's shitty. Anyone who does it.
Oh no,
shitty.
no. I'm not saying it's right.
This is nowhere near. Like, this isn't a big deal. Like, if it's Johnny Gargano and like fucking put Dexter Lumis, like, make Johnny Gargano do everything, and then Dexter Lumis just staring into a webcam.
Your video is messing up on my end a lot.
That's on your end, because I am green bar's full strength internet signal.
Yeah, mine's being goofy. So did you say Candace?
No, I said Dexter Lumis.
Okay.
Just have him friggin' dead eye stare while Gargano's trying to plug, the new belt.
Yeah, so, like, with it being Mattel, they use their Elite Squad people, which I guess is Adam Cole, but the two main people it used to be Brian and Matt, but obviously that isn't a thing anymore. It is really, anyway, but like I think it's Johnny and Candace are their Elite Squad people now, like they're representatives for WWE. What I was going to say is I find it really funny that two guys that don't work for the company anymore probably put in the most footwork to make sure that crowdfunding thing happened. Because those guys worked alongside with the Mattel reps to be like, no, this needs to happen. And it was like WWE posted like, Kevin Nash did more to promote that ring. And he did it.
He was literally just like, they told me to do this. I don't care. I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, he's just like...
So like... It's amazing he did it at all.
Yeah, because it wasn't even WWE. He's like, a couple of my friends in the collecting community wanted me to post about this. Like, it doesn't matter. WWE owns the trademark for Diesel. And I'm like, he did it in the most Kevin Nash way possible. And that's why he is one of my favorites of all time. Not even for his in-ring work. It's just it's just that he's always been that WCW Nitro video game promo. Just like, pick somebody else. You don't want me.
I don't care.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love him so much. He's the only person to make that much money and not give a single fuck while doing it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So it'll be either way. Like even if it's not Adam Cole, like that'll be fun to watch because I like watching those videos. Like I've started, like obviously as you can tell by here, I've gotten into the collection hard. Like I'm worried every day that I'm gonna come home and be like, oh hey, I'll text Audrey, be like, hey, I had a package come, and then I get home and there's a intervention waiting for me. But those are fun to watch. Even if it's like, I'm not going to collect more WWE stuff, but it's cool to see stuff that, is first time character reveals and stuff like that. So, but anyway, moving on, we're going to rapid fire through NXT before we get to SummerSlam. Cameron Grimes defeated LA Knight to win the $1 Million Championship. Solid match. Yeah. I like both of these guys. The only thing that doesn't sit right with me is LA Knight now, who lost his match at TakeOver trying to inject himself into the world title hunt on NXT last night, and it's just like, everyone else won their match. Why are you out there?
There's always that one guy.
Yeah. Raquel Gonzalez defeated Dakota Kai to retain the NXT Women's Championship in what was an heartbreaker for me, because I really wanted Dakota to win, but there's still time. It was a good match. And then Kaylee Ray shows up afterwards, and even though I don't care about NXT UK, I am a big fan of Kaylee Ray, because how could you not be? In what I think is the most I'm mad you didn't give me more credit for this. But in what was essentially a death match without weapons, Ilya Dragunov defeated Walter by submission to win the NXT United Kingdom Championship. I recognize it was a great match. I hate that, okay, I am legitimately going to beat the shit out of you in a pro wrestling match. There's just something that doesn't sit right with me. Well, watching that British strong style. And I don't have as much of a problem with Japanese strong style. So I don't know why my brain is stupid.
It's because after an Okada match, the opponent's chest isn't that fucking scarred.
Yeah, there's not burst blood vessels on their neck. And they're not blatantly punching each other in the back of the head.
Nah. The difference is that Japanese strong style, they honestly know how to throw anything, and they know how to curve it at the last second. It's a fucking art. And it's beautiful. You watch Shingo, any of those guys. It's beautiful to see the way they execute stuff, and they still are able to work the next night. British strong style is what we all expect. That's just what William Regal is. He's just a salty old man that beat the shit out of people for 20 years. That's just all those guys do. They just go out there and actually beat the shit out of each other. And in the middle of beating the shit out of each other, they'll do a beautiful looking wrestling move. The one thing, and I say I love it about Walter, but it's almost disgusting. He's that kid that plays in the playground and keeps changing the rules, and I don't think he knows he does it because he doesn't scar like everybody else scars. But everybody has to play Walter's game.
Yeah, and that's why I think I don't really like Walter. I don't like watching his matches. Because I don't want to spend too much time on this. I will say two things to his credit. And the NXT UK Championship matches in general. The last two defenses, or the last two title matches ended on NXT, main NXT. One ended off of a chop with Walter versus Ciampa, and Walter tapped out to a sleeper. Like, I dig that.
Yeah.
I like that it wasn't some huge, overly complex finishing move. It was something basic that they made look brutal and believable enough to actually, be worthy of finishing a match.
Yeah.
And you never see that. So I did appreciate that.
That Ciampa Walter match was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that match. It was a good match, but I'm in, like, I like the UK style a lot more than you, but it's one of those that, man, it gets brutal real quick. And it's the whole thing of just like, where's that line of you're getting what you need to get across, and now it's almost gratuitous at a certain point. Like, it's like, oh, it gets gross. Like, it's the shots to the back of the head.
Yeah, that missed me with all of that.
Because it's such a fine line of can go wrong. Like, this is your chest, like, yeah, it'll bruise, it'll heal up. It may look like that's every wrestling. It's very common to see one of my buddies post on Instagram the next day after a brutal chop.
Right.
But, like, the shit in the back of your neck, that's a game I don't ever want to play.
No, I don't like that. In the undisputed finale, or whatever the fuck they were calling it, Kyle O'Reilly has defeated Adam Cole 2-1 in a 2 out of 3 falls match to win in what I think, whether Adam Cole signs with AEW or New Japan or wherever, or if he re-signs with WWE, I bet money this is his last match on NXT for the foreseeable future. Yeah. Like, he might come back like a Finn Balor type run or something like that, but I think he's done on NXT either way. And then Samoa Joe defeated Karrion Kross after bringing back the Muscle Buster to win the NXT Championship and to become the first ever 3-time NXT champion. Super cool. I didn't think there was a chance in hell he was going to lose his first match back, especially now that Gladiator Cross is up on the main roster probably full-time again.
Yeah, so I hope we all enjoyed the last time Karrion Kross was relevant.
He beat the shit out of Ricochet, so maybe they'll do something with him now that he's more focused. 'Cause did we talk about the actual supposed story that he was supposed to get on Raw before Jeff Hardy got COVID?
Yeah, he was supposed to beat the shit out of Hardy forever.
No, not at all.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, he was going to have a rematch with Hardy. They were going to put him on a losing streak until Scarlett showed up. And then they would book him like the monster he was in NXT.
Gotcha.
But you're doing that while he's already on NXT. So that made
more importantly,
no sense.
The champion.
They took Scarlett off of NXT. Yeah.
Well, like that, and
the fact that he was their champion.
Because remember whenever Kevin Owens showed up on the main roster and was still NXT champion, he put a foot on the US belt and said, "Mine's better." And he did that to Cena.
Yeah, sure did. So, SummerSlam. Hey, speaking of Cena, SummerSlam. RK Bro defeated AJ Styles and Omos to win the Raw Tag Team Champion. Oh, by the way, before we do this, I'm fucking pissed at you for you completely forfeiting the preview game the fucking month that I literally get every single prediction right. Except for, obviously, the Bianca Belair one, which I'm calling a mulligan.
Oh, that's funny, because I did call Becky, like, in my head, I was like, Becky's gonna win the belt that night.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you fucking did. You pull up the Google sheet, and it says forfeit under you.
Did you actually do the sheet for it?
Yes!
Oh, shit,
because I assumed you were still gonna do it. Then I pulled it up, like, halfway through the show, and it was like, oh, nope. So
I mean, you won.
There have to be consequences.
You won. I'm
moving on.
I'm conceding the victory. I'm not even saying it was a no contest.
You wouldn't be able to. Oh, shut the. I'm about to get Facebook banned for the shit I want to say to you. RK Bro was new Raw Tag Team Champions. Cool. Alexa Bliss defeated Eva Marie. Why was that on the pay-per-view? Whatever. Damian Priest defeated Sheamus. This was a pretty good match to win the United States Championship, and then it was overshadowed because he did the interview where Tiffany Haddish called it the National Championship. Just bad. The Usos defeated Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio to retain the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Skipping this one for now. Oh, go ahead.
Rey Mysterio is going to win my Please Make That a Fucking Elite gear of the night, because it was Mysterio in Macho Man gear. Holy shit, it was awesome. Sorry, all right, I'm done. No,
you're fine. Drew McIntyre defeated Jinder Mahal. It didn't even use the sword. Charlotte Flair defeated Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley to win the Raw Women's Champion. But don't worry, Rhea tapped out at her first WrestleMania defending the NXT title. But she'll get her win back. It'll happen. Fucking Edge defeated Seth Rollins by submission in what was probably my favorite match of the weekend. Because one, holy shit, Brood music, even though the cowards cut it off halfway through and gave him his normal entrance afterwards. The Brood entrance is what, if it wasn't for CM Punk, would probably be my promo of the year. Even though that doesn't count.
Also, Edge is gonna win the Mattel. Please make that the next crowdfunding event. I don't make it shoot real flames. Fuck it. That was amazing.
Something we didn't talk about on NXT, but it followed up perfectly with this, with Edge using the Glam Slam. Mm-hmm. Was Adam Cole using the Lockjaw on Kyle O'Reilly.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. So, because it was Jordan Grace, I think, was like, is it true love if he's not using your finisher in one of your matches? Let's see. Edge. Bobby Lashley defeated Goldberg.
And Goldberg's kid.
Via ref stoppage. The fucking cane shot to his knee that he, was on a 3-second TV delay. Goldberg did not look good in this.
No, this was...
There's no good way to put it. Like, him and Eva Marie were kind of like, oh, y'all went to the same wrestling school, huh? Not good.
Best thing in Bobby Lashley's championship run was beating a child.
The best thing was the crowd actively shitting on Goldberg the entire time. Bobby Lashley fucking, like, a move that cripples people. He locked onto a 15-year-old and the crowd went wild for it. He was the biggest baby face.
So as bummed as I was that he murdered Kofi, I was the exact not bummed when he almost murdered a child.
Well, and then they had an MVP like trying to sell it like we just witnessed this atrocity. Oh, he didn't know it was a child. Someone attacked him from behind. He would have done it to anybody. And the crowd's just like, whoa, do it again. Fuck that kid.
So
They were chanting one more time after the chair shots to the leg. Like, it's almost gonna make when he loses in 3 seconds in Saudi Arabia worth it.
Did you see the popular wrestling meme of Goldberg's kid whenever he, like, 6 years ago, dabbing, and then everybody's just like, Lashley was totally justified in what he did?
I have seen that one, but my favorite one was them photoshopping Lashley's face on Michael Jordan.
Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids. That was the best one. And then the main event of the night, in what was also a really good match, Roman Reigns defeated John Cena to retain the Universal Championship. Clean as a fucking whistle. But they totally telegraphed it when Roman said he would leave WWE if he lost.
Yeah.
And then Brock Lesnar comes out, and I don't know why they hate me and they won't just let me have Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. But the thing we talked about a couple months ago of, Paul Heyman's reaction to Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns is what's going to be money to me. That is what I am most looking forward to.
Because even his interactions when it happened, you could
him just losing his mind.
You can tell
the panic.
Heyman, that was the face of a man that thought, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I hit a deer and had a similar face. Like, oh my god. And it was that whole thing of just like, people are just like, well, it's just Lesnar coming back. But like, no, this is different. Because Heyman is actually going to have some shit to do. Like, Heyman's been one of the most entertaining parts of all of this. Because, like, he's the advocate for the head of the tribal chief. And it's such a not fitting thing. And he's wearing the fucking thing around his neck the whole time. And it cracks me up every time. Something's happening. You're making a face and I'm talking right now. Can you tell me?
I was letting let you get your point out. Because I am still listening to you and you're making a good point. CM Punk is now Spider-Man. Call that boy Tom Holland. Fightful... wait, where'd it go?
Oh, God.
Fightful Wrestling on Twitter. Punk says that the crowd needs to be a little bit more patient as they were doing the yes chants. Whoops.
So the thing of it is that it's not like Tom Holland where he unknowingly fucked up. CM Punk is very aware of what he's doing.
No, because I'm seeing from Fightful as well. Or no, sorry, this is just someone else that I follow on Twitter. I think those words came out of Punk's mouth before he could stop them.
So
that's great.
Do you get mad at him if that wasn't a thing? Like, God damn,
no, not at all.
God damn it, Phil. Like,
because again, that's one of there's already the reports that he's going to be coming at Arthur Ashe at the New York show. So, it's already out there.
Yeah.
And also it's Punk. Like, can you really take anything he says seriously?
Yeah. Because again, I don't think AEW is going to get mad if he ever tweets out, "Watch on Friday night, I shit my pants." Like, that's never going to be a thing. Like, they're going to be, they'll retweet it.
But we're not done talking about SummerSlam. Going back.
Oh, yeah.
Because the fifth match of the night was supposed to be Bianca Belair defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. And I talked about it on the preview that they thought they were more confident that the match was going to happen, but there were serious doubts surrounding if that match was actually going to take place. Meltzer reported that apparently 8 days before the show, before SummerSlam, they knew Sasha Banks would not be able to compete. We don't know why. We don't know if it's medical. We don't know if it's injury. We don't know any reason, so there's no sense in speculating. But they knew that she would not be at that show. Keep in mind, they filmed SmackDown live the night before and still filmed an angle where she was going to be the challenger for the Women's Championship. That is shitty. Anyway, as perfect as the CM Punk moment was, the crowd is chanting CM Punk. The show just starts. They don't try to save it for the main event. They open the show with his music hitting, him coming out, giving the people exactly what they want. Instead, so Bianca Belair comes out for the match. The announcer says, "Oh, Sasha Banks can't compete." So instead they bring out Carmella, who Bianca has beaten several times, including the night before.
Yeah.
And the crowd is shitting on it, obviously. So you're putting both of them in a terrible spot. Then this really awkward, like nothing kind of happens, and Becky Lynch's music finally plays. Becky Lynch comes out, gets the biggest ovation of the night by a country mile. It's not even close. She comes out, beats up Carmella, challenges Bianca for the championship. Bianca says yes. Becky goes for a handshake, fakes her out, punches her in the throat, hits the manhandle slam. In case you didn't know, that was the name of that move, Dalton. It's the manhandle slam. The manhandle slam. Becky with the manhandle slam pins Bianca Belair 1, 2, 3 in like 6 seconds to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then the crowd is just like confused.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of cheers, but there's also just like,
what
the fuck?
Yeah.
How are you going to do one of the most organic baby faces that you have like that? And you can't be surprised, because this is literally what they did with Kofi.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not shocked.
There's a huge groundswell of support. People genuinely love Bianca. And then, oh, hey, by the way, we're just gonna cut the legs completely out from under you. And all of the people saying, oh, well, because this could go one of two ways. Like, I'm gonna try to be fair. This could be Bianca Belair's Sheamus beating Daniel Bryan in 20 seconds for the United States Championship.
Yeah.
And this is what lights the powder keg to her superstardom being immortalized.
Which is really funny.
But keep in mind,
because
that's not what they intended with Daniel Bryan. That was just we fucked up and the crowd won't let us forget it, to the point where we can no longer ignore it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't count on that being planned. Or it could be Kofi Kingston. He lost the title, he never got a rematch, and that's it. Now he's just another guy on the roster again.
I hated if all right, let's say it has to be a 6-second match.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it doesn't.
No, Asa, let's just say it has to be a 6-second match. Sometimes it just has to be a 6-second match. Like, I don't like it either. Bianca had one of the best wrestling matches I had seen in years with Banks fucking 6 months ago.
one of the most important matches
I mean,
that WWE has ever had.
It's super important. It was also a super important match, but also within that important match, it was a
great match. Yeah.
It was a great bit of business.
And even if they stunk up the place, it would have still been a really important match. I do want to just real quick, because I understand you're saying, oh, it has to be a super short match. I'm going to counter that with it doesn't, because you don't need to have Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie. That isn't something that requires. And even though that was only like 3 minutes.
Asa, I am saying they want to protect Becky because she hadn't wrestled in over a year. You want to make sure that she is good, so you don't want you don't want the first thing to stink.
Then don't bring her back yet.
And again, Asa, I get what you were saying. That's why I'm saying, let's say it has to be a 6-second match. Because there's probably people in the back that said it had to be a 6-second match. So you had these two...
But I also want to point out, like, time, like, if they're worried about actual time crunches...
Yeah.
Let's not forget that we didn't talk about it because it's not an official match. Rick Boogs and Nakamura played his entrance for no real reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got that stupid Dripstick 3000 bit with Miz and Morrison and Xavier Woods. And don't get me wrong, Xavier Woods dressing as Scott Hall and doing the Chico shtick, like, that was fun. But, like, I would have gladly sacrificed that if it meant we could have gotten an actual match.
Yes. But I'm saying strictly on Becky, like, let's say that they were just like, no, we're gonna keep this short and sweet for your sake.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a thing that happens. So let's say it has to be a 6-second match. I hated the 6-second match they gave us. It should have been go for the handshake. Bianca accepts it. And the second she gets her hand, she just fucking puts her in the disarmor. We've seen her just shit whip people on the floor and just put them in that move.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason that it needed to be a cheap shot. I mean, it's still a cheap shot if she just, grabs her hand and throws her into the disarmor. She wasn't ready for it. But the throat punch was weird. And that fucking standing Uranagi was lame.
The rock bottom.
Yeah.
But she went down with it.
Oh, she did go down? I thought she stayed standing. Okay. It was just the fucking rock bottom. It was the barbed wire bomb.
No, it's the manhandle. It's the manhandle slam.
It sure
the
is.
Manhandle slam, Dalton.
It sure is.
They said it 50 times.
But like, it was a bad 6-second match.
It's bullshit because, like, man, now you have such a cloud over what was a slam dunk. You have Becky Lynch, who is not even close the most over woman in professional wrestling.
One of the most over personalities in professional wrestling.
Yeah, like, just, Britt Baker is up there.
Yeah.
She's doing incredible stuff. Thunder Rosa is up there. She's doing incredible stuff. You've got people like Nikki ASH getting really good reactions on TV. Seems like house shows are a little bit split, but that doesn't really matter. Like, women, when they're given the spotlight, are doing great. And then you have Bianca Belair doing incredible work.
One of the best pure athletes today.
And then you have Becky Lynch, who is someone people have missed and have been clamoring to see and have been missing sorely on WWE television. And this is how you bring her back. And it's just like, yeah, there's a lot of discussion around it, but is that good? But it's not like, this was so easy. And also, apparently she's going to be a heel. Good luck.
Yeah, it's very much they're cutting the nose to spite their face in this whole situation. Because there's not a lot of... It goes back to... Asa, let's say it's a 6-second match. If she just would have yanked her in the disarmor right away, like, it still would have looked underhanded, but then Becky could just be like, yeah, kid, that's what happens whenever you mess with the man. Like, it was a cheap shot into a move that looked not great.
The cheap shot is the only thing that was heelish about that entire segment, too. You know what would have really cemented Becky Lynch as a heel? If, like you said, you yank her into the disarmor, Bianca taps out, and Becky doesn't let go.
Well, here's the thing. She doesn't need to be a heel.
Becky...
Like...
Oh, no, I'm saying, but this is now, like you said, it has to be a 6-second match.
And she has to be
This
heel.
is if she has to be a heel.
Okay.
If she's coming back, there's, I think it was Meltzer saying that she's the one that's requesting to be a heel, where at a certain point you need to be willing to say no to people. But, like, if it is she's a heel, you slap on the submission and then you don't let go. And then you say, oh, well, now we have to keep Bianca off television for a few weeks because Becky's attack left her injured. You know, it separated her shoulder, whatever bullshit injury you want to make up for it. That at least then you have something of like, imagine if she kept that locked on so long that the crowd did eventually turn on her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, then you have something that's concrete of just like, no, look, this isn't the Becky we missed. Now it's something different. Now you have a reason to boo her. But instead it was just, no, it was one cheap shot that it was equivalent of when did Stone Cold get booed for stunning someone after offering him a beer?
Oh, never. Yeah. It never
Yeah,
happened.
that's what this was. That's all this was.
Yeah.
It was oh, that's badass. Becky's a badass. Not Becky's a bad guy.
Oh God. Nope, I'm not even gonna say what I just thought. But no, like, there's no way she's gonna be heel for a while. Daniel Bryan had to wrestle for 4, 5, 6 months before they were able to turn him heel after his return.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got WrestleMania 34, we had the Seahawks green gear for like a couple months, and then he stomped in AJ Styles' face.
Yeah.
Like, and that was Daniel Bryan, and I'm gonna say that this man thing is one of the most over things that WWE has had in a while, and again, not for any fucking credit to them.
Yeah, no.
Like, just like Daniel Bryan, not to any credit, I'll give him credit for Bianca.
Do you remember the promo she cut when they pulled the ejector seat on her initial heel turn?
Yeah.
Where she said, like, I was willing to do this on my own, but you stayed with me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, that was actually a really touching, like, really nice thing. What makes them think that it's not going to be the exact same thing now?
Because who's on top? Who's the Raw Women's Champion, Asa?
Fucking Charlotte Flair?
Who's the more likable champion?
I don't know what
right
your
now,
point
Asa?
is there.
Say it again. Who's the Raw's Women's Champion? It's Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have Charlotte Flair as the big heel on Raw. They're not gonna fucking boo Becky because what's on Raw is worse. Like, they're just
you presented that like you're disagreeing with me, and I've been very confused.
No, I'm on your
why.
side. I'm just like I am perfectly cool with Becky beating Bianca because Becky is the second most over woman in WWE's eyes. It's the most over woman in reality, but it's the second most in WWE's eyes. And they need that for their women's division. But I'm not cool with it being a 6-second match. I'm not cool with the way they did their 6-second match. And like everything that I think that they are thinking is going to work isn't. Because there's a lot of people excited that Becky has the championship again. Sadie hasn't really watched wrestling in like a year. And she said, CM Punk just came back. And Becky has the title. She said she was like on Friday. She said, I have a reason to watch AEW now. And then the next night she said, I have a reason to watch Raw or SmackDown now. Charlotte winning the belt didn't give her a reason to watch Raw. Monday Night Raw is dead on Sadie. But like, these are big returns, but the return they gave Becky was so lackluster. It's gonna make
I'm morbidly curious. Like, I'm not excited to see what they do.
Nothing is gonna make it
like,
right.
Oh no,
like,
no.
Nothing that they're gonna be like, because either one of two things: she is as over can be babyface, and then that 6-second match made no goddamn sense, or they make her a heel, which we have heard in so many wrestling podcasts with so many, like we've even heard CM Punk talk about it on the Colt Cabana podcast. There is a big revenue drop for a face versus a fucking heel. So one of your highest revenue makers she was making so much money that they made the man shirt for Seth Rollins. Again, I'm going back to the CM Punk Millions thing. They made a shirt for Seth Rollins to try to make him more over. That's how fucking over Becky was. And still is, by the way. And they're going to try to make her heel right after coming back. They didn't even try that shit with Triple H back in 2002. They let him be a badass denim wearer for at least 5 months before the Reign of Terror started. Like,
remember when they brought Rollins back as a heel and everyone was like, no, like with the Authority storyline?
Yeah.
Where he was gone and everyone was super excited that he was back, and then he just like rejoined the Authority and everyone was like, we're still gonna cheer you even though we hate the Authority.
Yeah, like you're the good one.
And it's just it makes no sense to me. I didn't think we were gonna talk this long about it, so I'm gonna kind of cut it off there.
That's fine.
But I mean, we've made the points we're gonna make. It's when we're on the same page of just like no matter what way you slice it, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It like I said, it's a slam dunk. There's no defender, and you just I'm about to say fumble, and so I'm mixing my sports analogies, but like I don't understand how you mess this up. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in 3 months when we look back at where the Becky Lynch storyline is, we'll be saying about like, oh, this was, it was a bad first step, but they've really recovered, or it made a lot of sense now that we have more context to it. But I just don't see it.
Yeah.
They don't get that benefit of the doubt at this point. So, but that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for sticking with us through all of this. What return were you most excited to see? Was it CM Punk? Was it Becky Lynch? Like, not saying which one did you enjoy the most, but who are you most excited to see back?
Was it Brock Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar. Yeah. So, let us know. Hopefully y'all are having a good time. You're staying safe. You're vaccinated. You're doing great. You can, of course, get your Dalton Anthony merch if you wait in the digital queue at prowrestlingtees.com/Dalton Anthony. Follow me on Twitch or Twitter at the 5-Star Man with the number 5. And then we're going to be, of course, CCW is this weekend at the Arena building. So be sure to check that out. We will both be there. If you're up in St. Louis and you're going to Toy Man, if you see me at the Toy Man, say hi. I apologize in advance that I'm going to be super uncomfortable and awkward. And I'll be like, what, why, what, who are you? But that's just who I am as a person, and I apologize for it. But yeah, say hi. Dalton might be there if he's not a little bitch.
Yeah, it depends on how...
I'm definitely going.
Depends on how beat up
I'm definitely going.
Oh, you are going? You are for sure going?
Yeah, this is me saying I'm for sure going. When I messaged you about like, wow, there's a lot of Targets and Walmarts in
I assume that
St.
was
Louis,
your check.
It's because I'm trying to map out like, okay, if I can start here and then just like work my way back towards Cape.
Mm-hmm.
But holy shit, I might just hit like 1 or 2 and then so many Walgreens too. Because let me tell you what, especially when you're behind on collecting stuff, Walgreens is I need to cut this out because I don't need to give people ideas. I've already picked clean a lot of the Walgreens though for the stuff that I'm looking for.
Did you get Malekith yet?
So, no, I can't. I haven't seen. I'm so fucking pissed.
Let me know if you open.
I'm gonna like here. Let me show you something real quick. That this is for an audio podcast, so bad. This is an action figure in my hand that I have opened.
All right, don't buy a Malekith then.
Oh, okay, sweet. But CCW on Saturday here at Cape at the Arena building. Marco Stunt's birthday bash. Sammy Guevara's going to be there. Fuego del Sol's going to be there. I didn't even really consider that when we were talking all about him.
Joey Janela's going to be there. AEW.
Joey Janela is going to be wrestling KLD.
That's going to be stupid.
It's going to be dumb. I'm excited.
I'm so happy I'm going to be second match, so I will have all the time in the world to change. I'm calling my shot.
Are you going to be second match?
I'm going to be second match. When have I not fucking second match?
Oh. I don't know.
I'm always second match.
If Sarah's not there, hop on commentary with me, so I'm not stuck there sounding like an idiot. Anyway, CCW is on Saturday. Come check it out. If you can't check it out live, it'll be broadcast on Fight TV, I'm assuming. So find us on there. Help celebrate Marco's birthday with a big CCW championship win over the other birthday boy, turning 50. I don't know if you saw that when I wished him happy birthday on his Facebook. Brandon Barbwire.
That old bitch.
Also had a birthday recently. He's going to have that was Dalton. So yeah. And then, yeah, if you see me at Toy Man, say hi. I'll be the one in a mask, so you probably won't be able to recognize me necessarily. But, yeah. Have a good night. I don't know what's happening. I'm rambling. I'm very hungry. I want to get this edited and posted. If you have made it through this part of the podcast, I need you to know how much you listening means to me, how much I love you, and I hope you have a good night. You stay safe, and we will talk to you very, very soon. Thank you, and good night.